and I believe we are live on YouTube.
We are live on YouTube, so welcome along to obviously Fight Talk, just a live chat with myself and Rob, where we'll be talking everything from UFC 223, UFC Liverpool taking shape, Ronda Rousey, we'll be talking everything. We'll be going on a few things. Yeah. So if you've only come across us, welcome. It's obviously Fight Talk. Hit subscribe, it's just down below. Before we start diving in, I'm learning from watching Luke Thomas, Rob. He does this at the start. So if you are a listener to obviously Fight Talk and you're new to obviously Fight Talk, just hit subscribe there, get all your future content. We always have regular interviews with fighters who have either fights coming up or coming off fights. We tend to have our guests tend to be relevant for the moment. We don't just bring them on for the sake of bringing them on. So I know the good looking fella's Rob, so what's crack, Rob? How are you?
I'm good, man. How are you?
Yeah, I'm alright. I felt like I haven't seen you in about 6 hours.
6 hours, yeah, it's been weird, isn't it? It's probably the longest time we've been apart in a long time.
Let's hear your chit chat. Let's have a look at let's jump into what was Cage Warriors 92. A pretty spectacular card for them. What do they call it? Super Saturday or something, wasn't it?
Super Saturday, yeah, that's the one.
Super Saturday. And your main event seeing Nathaniel Wood taking on Luca Ovine. It didn't take Nathaniel Wood long, 50 seconds to be precise, Rob. Question I have for you here: 13-3 now, Nathaniel Wood. A big knockout. We came off that crazy fight he was involved in. It was one of these fights that if you were trying to convince somebody of, look, you got to get into MMA, you'll love it, watch the round against Josh Reed at Cage Warriors 86, where Nathaniel Wood looked absolutely out of the fight and then comes back with a hook out of nowhere, and the fight went crazy. This one against Lugo was a little different. He again, them wild hooks, well, I don't think they're as wild as just saying wild hooks, but he is in a boxing range fight with Nathaniel Wood. You got to watch out for them hooks, man. And Luco didn't watch out, and he dropped in a real classic highlight. Real, God bless Luco. Cage Warriors will be using that for years. But Nathaniel Wood, man, how impressed were you with that 50-second performance?
Yeah, very, very impressed. We'll talk about it when we talk a little bit about one, because Gary Townend made his MMA debut, but there was this, I wouldn't say much of a comparison, but the one thing I will say about Nathaniel Wood is what I've seen in Gary Townend is that the way they fight, even Gary Townend, it's such early in his career, is very, very smart, and when they find something that works, they don't rely on it, but they'll go back to it and they'll look for it. And I think was it a left hook or a right hook that Nathaniel Wood landed?
It was left, I think, yeah. Left. I'm trying to get the replay, yeah.
But if you look early in the fight, it looked like he spotted that, and it looked like he continued to go for it, but not that he was relying on it, but he was looking for it. And it was just beautiful. And I suppose the big question that everyone's talking about now is he ready for the UFC? I tend to think that he is. He had that appearance on the MMA Hour, spoke very well. But I think that he is. I'm not sure. He did say that he's ready for the top 10. Who knows, potentially, but I think he's definitely ready for at least the top 20 in that division, top 25 in that division. I'd put him in there with a top 25er for sure.
He's on some win streak at the moment, 5 wins. It was all comes from his last defeat was actually here in Dublin against Alan Philpott, where I think he broke his nose in the fight, didn't he? So he's gone on an absolute tear. Is he ready for the UFC? I'm a big fan of Nathaniel Wood. He's defended his title twice. That's normally seems to be the in and around the average holding time, isn't it, of a belt before you move on. I think it depends as well. Like I tend to use Tom Ducomont as the stable for this. As in, he hung around in Bama for that little bit longer. Was that worthwhile for Tom Ducomont to hang around? And you look at Tom Ducomont now; he's in the UFC, but it's not going exactly how people, I think, for seeing Tom Ducomont.
That's a good point.
So. Nathaniel Wood, I wouldn't mind. I was going to check what age is Nathaniel. He's 24. Do you know what I mean? So
it's crazy.
Don't get me wrong. If the UFC comes knocking, by all means, I think you take that, you answer the door. But yeah, especially with the likes of Brad Pickett in his corner as well, you know what I mean? There's plenty of experience there as well, and a good corner to have. As much as your corner can only do so much, a good corner to have going into the UFC. So it wouldn't surprise me if Nathaniel Wood did go to the UFC, but me, I'd like to see him get, because if you go back to the Josh Reed fight, I don't mean to, like, the comeback he done was like incredible in that Josh Reed fight, but he was nearly done against Josh Reed. He was nearly finished. I think it was Goddard was refereeing, and Goddard was looking very closely at the fight and was nearly stepping in. So, you know, I suppose he's beaten the likes of Von Lee and stuff like that again. Former,
it seems like
it
seems like what your idea is, that not that he's not ready. He could probably compete with a lot of guys there, but you probably think it's better for his career longevity, maybe his impact that he could have in the UFC if he stays away from it for a little bit longer and matures a little bit more. And I completely get that. That's what I was saying. I don't know if he'll go in and he'll compete with the top 10s right now. I think that's a bit of a stretch to say. Nathaniel was obviously a very, very good fighter, and he's very confident in what he can do, but you know, it would be a stretch to say he can definitely go in and compete with the top 10 in the UFC right now. But I do still think that he can do top 25, but you could be right. Maybe some more time outside the UFC would be a good thing. I want to go back to the chat for a second. Farrell Connolly asked a question, and the way we like to do this, if anybody's listening here, is like we do like to take some questions. So if you have any questions, just throw them in and we'll kind of get to them as we go along. But he asked, before we move on to more Cage Warriors and one, any plans to get Jason Knight back on before his UFC Liverpool fight? Yeah, we'll try to do that. That'd be some good crack.
Yeah, we've had Jason on twice now. So yeah, of course, as we were saying at the top there, Farrell, we tend to, Farrell listens to the show, so Farrell will figure it out as well, and he's our number one he's
agent,
a recruiter at the moment, Farrell Connolly. So yeah, we will get on to Jason, and we'll try to get him on. Jason seems to be he's very accommodating as well. So yeah, definitely. I imagine Mr. Knight will be with us soon. Just looking down the Cage Warriors card as well, Rob, the nice notables as well for SPG Swords. Had James Webb get the victory to rear naked choke with 1 second to go. This seems to be a thing also worth calling out as well, that Darren O'Gorman as well. 1 second to go in round one. So two fighters that, well, James is an Englishman living in Ireland and training at SPG Swords. He got it done with a second to go, and Darren O'Gorman got it done with a inverted triangle choke. So yeah, it's gone from what we hadn't seen one of them ever, I think. Was there like to Paul Craig's one? I think the Mighty Mouse done one though. Did he? Mighty Mouse finished with 4:49 in the 5th round of a fight before, didn't he?
I can't remember. Possibly. I can't remember off the top of my head. But it seems to be like a don't stop until the fight is over, which is it's a good mentality to have, especially if you're down on the cards like Paul Craig. I didn't get to see the whole lot of that fight. I saw the finish, so I'm not sure what the scorecards look like. But yeah, very impressive.
It wasn't looking good for Paul Craig on that one. I know that.
No.
Yeah. But yeah, a big result for Darren O'Gorman, and James Webb on it. And they'll stand out to you on the card, Rob. On the Cameron Else as well, got a good win by a rear naked choke in the first round as well.
The only big standout, I suppose, from an Irish perspective would be the Carl Moore fight. Unfortunately, lost in the first round for fans of Carl Moore. A lot of people thought that maybe that was his ticket to the UFC. That was being thrown around, and I wouldn't have been surprised on that. But yeah, the Jack Shore fight was a good fight against Von Lee. Great win against a UFC vet. But apart from that, I just thought it was a great show, and it seems like show after show, especially over in the States, I've noticed, like, because there was nothing really happening, there was just one, there was Cage Warriors, that the American fans and the American media are kind of getting behind these regional European shows like Cage Warriors, and it's pretty cool to see, to be fair.
Well, I think as well, like, what's happening now as well with Cage Warriors went away for a while, and Bama came along, and Bama seemed to take the staple of the number one UK certainly show, possibly European show, and then then like Cage Warriors started went, no, hold my beer, you know what I mean, and they came back and I started trying to flex their muscles. Then KSW came to town and just like put on the Polish pride. So I think it's good as well. And there's talk that, of course, Bushido MMA is coming to Ireland in April down at Cork in the Neptune. There's talk of Fight Global coming here as well. Pretty soon. Then there's also talk of Brave coming here as well with like Dylan Tukin and the competitors. And to seamlessly roll into this, you might give out to me when I'm doing this, talking about promotions coming here and signing local talent. Bellator have signed Will fucking Fleury on a contract. So that is like, we've had Will on the show before. And Will has sort of had a weird, turbulent time as a professional. I don't think Will mind me saying that. I jokingly always refer to Will as had more pullouts than a porn star. But the amount of fights that fall through for Will Fleury and just the effect, like what happened to him in the fighter over in the UFC, that referee's decision was insane. And then he went and he fought in Brave, got the win over in Brave. And then all of a sudden now he'd fought in the final of that fighter, gets a win, then he goes and fights in Brave, and he's jumping from promotion to promotion, and you're sort of liking to see him nail him down. But the fact that like Bellator signed him, that's huge for Will Fleury. Like you look what Bellator are doing with James Gallagher, and it's something. It's something that I was actually talking to, if anyone watched it, a new podcast, the MMA weigh-ins. They asked us about, it was a question that I started looking on, Jesus, guys, he's really hung us out to dry with this question, asking about SBG being overrated or the most hyped gym, you know, and I use the football analogy of Busby Babes with the original guys, and you have the new breed, because you have the new breed of SBG fighter coming through, because the older guys, like the likes of your Carl Pendreds, your I think he says your Neil Series, he wasn't in SPG, your Paddy Hewlins, your Ash Daly, your Chris Fields. Also Chris is still competing, but you know, you've the sort of older stable, the first few doors, if you know what I mean. So I think I said on it was very unfair to say that they're overrated. And like you look at, you've James Gallagher, you've Will Fleury was called out. So to see Will sign for Bellator is huge. Both for like Will, it's going to give him, they're going to have a much bigger stable of fighters that Will can compete against as well.
Yeah, it's a great move, especially for Will, because as you said, he's just had so much trouble getting fights. And at least now signed with Bellator, you'd assume that they'll have a lot of fights for Will to get, and it's a great platform for him to kind of show who he is as a fighter. They also signed somebody else. I think it was Mike Shipman as well, another middleweight, Bama middleweight champ. So they signed him as well. So it looks like they're trying to build up their stable of fighters from the UK, from Ireland, from Europe, which is always a good thing around these parts, because that probably means they're going to come back here more. And this is one thing that we did speak about Bellator, where it seems like they're trying to capitalise on the kind of hole left from the UFC not really visiting the UK as much, not really visiting Ireland at all anymore, really. Like they're supposed to have a Dublin show, which is not happening. Maybe there's some rumours that maybe we'll have a Dublin show a little further down the road in 2018, but great move for Will, and I'm very happy to see that he signed for Bellator. It's a big move from, like, Brave was a great promotion to get on as well, but just you know, you have that prestige with Bellator now, and you know, some people say Bellator is not that prestigious, but you know, it's number 2 promotion in the world right now. Overall globally, you can obviously look at the KSWs, and it's huge in Poland and stuff, but yeah, excellent move.
Yeah, and again, as you said, Rob, just to echo what you were saying, like they're being smart, they're signing up young up and comers, like, because, like, let's be honest, I think if like Will Fleury was to get up to 7, 8, 9 and 0, you know, and the UFC come in and Bellator come in, you know, more than likely he's going to go to the UFC. So what Bellator are trying to do here is they're trying to, you know, the early bird catches the worm and all that, so they're trying to sign these young prospects coming up, and like Will Fleury's great crack as well. Like he's a mad bastard, you know what I mean? What I loved, I said it to Will as well, I said, have you listened back to the commentary of the fight in Brave, and he was like, no, I haven't seen it. I said, oh, you didn't hear what the commentator said? And he was like, no. And I was like, all right, because when you were walking to the cage, you were getting booed for whatever reason, and the commentators were like, Will Fleury getting booed on his way to the Brave cage, and the commentator turned around and said, well, I think you only have to look at Will Fleury's facial hair to know he doesn't care about what anybody thinks about him.
Yeah.
I just, absolute cracker, brilliant. But Will, not a fan of it. But yeah, speaking of Bellator, Rob, again, beautiful flows here. No, fantastic. And to keep it regional, we'll obviously talk a little bit about UFC and stuff as well. But good couple of months coming up for MMA over this neck of the woods, and where to start is Bellator 200, which is coming to London on the 25th of May, which is a Friday. So you MMA not even gonna aficionados, got it. You will be fans of this, because if you use your head wisely, it's a trip to London on a Friday. Mm-hmm. Watch Bellator, make your way up to Liverpool, and watch UFC on a Sunday.
Yeah. It's
home on Monday. The missus won't be talking to you, so you'll probably go out to see them in football that night because she won't be talking to you.
Yeah.
Great stuff.
It's class, isn't it? It's great for people who are already over there, but it's it's only across the road for us, so I think it's brilliant.
What do you think, though?
I think it's better for Bellator.
Yeah.
Look, I think it's a good move. I think it doesn't hurt Bellator, and this was something that Ariel was talking about on the MMA Hour this week, talking about how he doesn't think this would really hurt, because I think there's plenty of fans that will go to both. It's not going to be cheap to go to both, but there is a lot of fans. Like, I'm sure Farrell Connolly, who's on the chat right now, will probably go to both. He goes to every show known to man. Yeah. But if you look at the card for Bellator, they're not playing around. They're not playing any games with this card. They're really stacking it up. Yeah. They have Anastasia Yankova is on the card, who they're trying to push as a bit of a star. Aaron Chalmers, say what you want about him, he is a bit of a draw around these parts. He's on the card. Phil Davis versus Linton Vassell is on the card. That's a huge fight in that division. Michael Page is back in MMA against Dave Rickles, and then Crow Cop, who we'll speak about it in a minute, is gonna get tested. He's going to be told when he's going to get tested, which is a bit brilliant. It's classic Bellator, but he fights Roy Nelson, and then of course you have the middleweight title with Gegard Mousasi and Carvalho. It's a great card, and I think
super card.
Yeah, I think a lot of people who want to go to this card will of course go to the UFC, but then a lot of people who are considering UFC in Liverpool, Bellator is on in London the day before, you probably get more people that are going to go to this because of that, I think.
Well, I get what you're saying. They're going to complement each other, I think, as well. Yeah. At first, I thought it's a bit cheeky, the UFC. They're going to roll in and show their strength. But, just to revert back a little bit, everybody gave out about UFC London, and we seen how that card turned out. It was excellent. It was it was the one time I think I didn't say they're not all household names, but it could be a great card, and it turned out to be a great card. And then a lot of people were saying, well, actually, Bellator are actually bringing a great card here.
Yeah.
But it makes sense. Friday and then the fights, it's a simple trip. If you want, you can get the boat over to work your way down to London or whatever way, but it's just it works great. A little trip to London, a little trip to Liverpool, and you're getting a great weekend of fights in. Let's talk before we jump onto the UFC in Liverpool, though. Let's talk about Crow Cup. That's like the Garda Síochána, literally going, listen, you're going to the pub tonight. You're going to have 8 points. We're going to be parked around the corner from your gaff at 11. So make sure you come either before 11 or after half 11.
It's mad.
It's a bit... Yeah, because he can literally the cycle of stuff. I don't know. I'm not. Because as you can tell by my physique, I don't do these things. But the cycle of stuff, you have a certain period of time that this can cycle in. You piss clean or whatever it may be, or he could piss in a cup himself, and there's so many things he could do here. And
this is not accusing Mirko Crow Cup of anything.
Of course.
He has failed for certain things, and there was a little bit of that. But it's just crazy. It's absolutely insane. How can you tell somebody we're going to test you on this day, pretty much? Because what's happening is Mike Mazzulli, who regulates Bellator when they go abroad. I think he's the president of ACB or ABC, the Association of Boxing Commissions, or something like that. But he does it anyway. But he basically has his travel schedule for the Bellator events set out so he can make a stop in Croatia to test him. So Crow Cup knows when he's coming over. It's just like, thank you, like thank you, Mr. Mazzulli. I'll be definitely clean on that day. And imagine if he failed. Imagine how silly it'd be if he failed. Jesus Christ.
Yeah. And then let's move it up to, you're going from London to Liverpool, and when you click on Tapology, that's what I'm clicking on here. This is what I love about Tapology, that they never let unconfirmed rumours stop us. They have Stephen Thompson and Darren Till down as their main event. What a fight that would be. Now let's talk about actual fights. You've Nelson confirmed today against Neil Magny. So Gunny getting back in there. What do we think of the fight straight off the bat? I know with you today in work, you did say you like this fight.
Yeah, we can talk about the potential main event, or who we think could be the potential main event. There has been reports of Thompson Till, so that'd be absolute cracker if it happens. But Nelson versus Magny, I think it's a perfect matchup. Magny is one of those guys that's going to be always a tough test for anybody in the division. Gunnar Nelson is in a similar vein. I think Gunnar Nelson probably hasn't reached the highs that we thought he could probably reach in the UFC so far, but he still has time, and he had an unfortunate loss to Ponzinibbio. So I think this is a cracker. It's a interesting style of matchup because Neil Magny on the floor, he has looked vulnerable, but he doesn't get put to the floor a whole lot because his takedown defense is fairly good. Gunnar Nelson generally gets people to the ground, but his wrestling isn't really a strong suit. He likes to try to get trips and stuff like that. And then with Neil Magny's reach, it's going to be difficult enough. So I like the fight. I think it's a cracker. But yeah, that's a good fight.
I think the loss to Ponzinibbio for Gunny, I think we're sort of underselling that as well. Like the eye pokes were absolutely vicious in that, as beautifully photographed by Jerry McCarthy of KO Media. Insane eye pokes. So for Gunny to get back up and he's gonna want to make a statement here. And you look at Neil Magny. Neil Magny broke my heart last time out. He beat Carlos Conde. But I just think this is a good fight for Gunny. That Magny, it tends to go to the ground with Magny as well in his fights, and Magny is good on the ground as well. But I just think there's levels.
Yeah, it's a different level.
There's levels, and Gunny, you've seen the man, dress up and dance as Michael Jackson in the Thriller video lately. He's just, Gunnar Nelson is one cool slick cat, and his striking, you gotta don't sleep on his striking. Like, remember he knocked out what's his bloody name?
Brandon Thatch.
Brandon Thatch.
Well, he dropped him. He dropped him.
He dropped him. Sorry, and finished him with a choke. Yeah, that's right. But Gunny has that sort of karate style that he's almost sideways point style, and he gets his takedowns by closing the distance by using his striking as well. And Gunny, I think he's one of my.
Go ahead.
He's one of my favourite fighters to watch. He's enjoyable to watch. He's calm, he's precise, and he's smooth in how he operates. I always enjoy watching Gunnar Nelson fight, and I will be enjoying him beating up Neil Magny, in my opinion.
Yeah, and you have to remember that in the Ponzinibbio fight, he was actually looking fairly good in the feet before the eye pokes. He was landing some good shots, and Ponzinibbio was a very good striker. So, he is getting better in that dimension, but he's always going to have that grappling advantage over pretty much everybody not named Damian Maia probably in the division.
Yeah. Farrell makes a good point here and chat about Bisping. Said he wants on the UFC. On his Believe You Me podcast, he was talking about it. He was basically saying it's a nice retirement fight. Liverpool's from the same region where he's from. Obviously I think he's a Manc, is he? I think Bisping is a Manc, isn't he? He's Manchester.
Yes.
He's interested in fighting on the card. We'll see what comes up. And he's basically said to the UFC, throw names at me. But Farrell actually makes a valid point here. Let's say, Wonder Boy, Thompson, strong rumours on it. Ariel Hawani's reporting. Normally when Ariel confirmed, I can't remember who broke it first, but then
Chris Taylor of BJPen.com, who has been breaking a lot of news lately. So
yeah, Jesus, I tell you, BJPen.com might be starting to be taken serious now.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Did he report his fight too? The Magny fight, I mean, Magny Gunnar. He might have.
You sure? Do you know what it is, Rob? BJ Penn started using obviously Fight Talk. It's the obviously Fight Talk effect.
Yeah.
But nothing to do with the brilliant reporting at all. But Farrell basically says Bisping wants on the card. Do you think he played third fiddle to this?
It's a tough one, isn't it?
Like, if it's his retirement fight, I don't think I think you're only as good as your last fight, and I sort of have to say with Bisping, you're only as good as your last 2 fights. Fair enough, he lost horribly to Gastelum. Good fight with GSP. It looked like when he actually got beat, it looked like he was starting to get on top of the fight. For me, I thought Bisping was going to start taking over that fight and winning. But it might drop Gunny down, I'd imagine. Like, they're not moving Darren Till off. No, it doesn't matter if Darren Till ended up fighting, I don't know, whoever. They're not going to move Darren Till off the main event. It's Darren Till's main event.
It's his cards,
so, yeah, they might drop Gunny and Neil Magny down, I suppose, if Bisping was to get on it. But no, I don't. So
the only thing I will say is that if Bisping wants to get on this card, and the whole reason is that it's going to be his retirement fight, I think in some sense you kind of want to give Bisping his terms for his retirement fight, but then there is the whole thing of paychecks. I know the UFC like to spread them out over events. They don't really like to put all these huge stars, and it's a weird one. They probably have some kind of budget for fight nights. I don't know. Okay,
well, so let's do it. Let's talk about the possibly rumoured fight that is Stephen Wonderboy Thompson against the 205-pound fucking gorilla, Darren Till. How fun of a fight is that?
Very fun. Very fun.
It's something Darren Till's been calling for a long time.
Yeah, man. It's just such a great fight because they're two strikers, but two wildly different strikers. Different strikers. So it'll be so interesting to see how they match up. And like if you look at the Cowboy fight, Till and Cowboy, again they're different type of Muay Thai strikers, but they are Thai strikers. In that sense, but Stephen Thompson is that point style striking, and I don't think Darren Till ever tries to score points when he strikes. He looks for the finish. I know that Stephen Thompson doesn't as well. But it's just a really intriguing matchup. It's a dangerous matchup for Thompson if he takes it, and you can understand from his side, from his camp, why they'd say maybe this isn't the best matchup. Maybe we could get someone who maybe is as talented as Darren Till, but who's ranked a little bit higher, and maybe losing to them wouldn't be as devastating. And not that a loss to Darren Till would be devastating, but.
You look at Wonderboy Thompson, right? He's had them 2 weird fights with Woodley, and by weird I mean people were moaning about them giving out. The styles just didn't match. But you look like he beat Rory McDonald and Jorge Masvidal. And if you think Masvidal, a lot of people talking big about Masvidal. So if he was to get a win like off Masvidal and then off Till, he's back all of a sudden looking at that title shot. Now the implications here, RDA looks like he's going to be fighting Kobe Covington. Was that confirmed or is that rumoured about as well?
That is
potential for the interim.
I'll check it.
Yeah, and that's for the interim. And then you're going to have as well Ponzinibbio is fighting as well.
Usman,
did they say Usman?
That's it.
So there's 4, right? So you're looking at Usman, Covington, RDA, Ponzinibbio, Darren Till, Wonderboy. So you're going to have 6 fighters vying. It's almost like a mini tournament.
It is, although the RDA versus Colby Covington fight is apparently for an interim title, which we...
Yeah, number 1 contendership.
Yeah, interim title. So, I'm not sure if that is... Yeah, that was Chris Taylor again, I think, of VJPen.com, who's reporting that one. So, we'll see what happens. I don't think it's been set, as in the Dos Anjos versus Covington fight. But, yeah, I think... If you look at that welterweight division now, if they do make the Thompson-Till fight, or anybody in that division really, I like the matchup, the matchmaking right now in that division. I think they're doing it right. Even with the interim title, I don't really 100% agree with it, although Woodley hasn't fought in a long time. I just think that the matchmaking in that division looks great from the outside because you have potential contenders from so many different fights, or else the losers could fight the losers. And I think it's almost an old school kind of look. You have like 5, 6, 7 contenders all kind of fighting in and around the top 6 or 7. I think it's deadly.
See, you just said that at the top, but I disagree, and I quickly checked. Woodley hasn't fought in a long time. He fought the 29th of July. That's not that long ago for a champion.
29th of July? It's months.
Yeah, but it is months, but like in comparison to
it's not Conor McGregor months.
yeah. But like in fairness, I think Woodley's been quite an active champion. Like for me, they're just calling it an interim just because where is it? It's in Chile, isn't it, or something?
Yeah, and like to be fair, both guys are gonna make more money because it's an interim title, so more power to them, I suppose. But it doesn't really mean a whole lot.
Back to what you were saying just briefly about Thompson Till and the clash of striking. I just think that is intriguing. As you said, Wonderboy sort of accumulates his shots, and when the knockout comes, it comes. But Darren Till he's like a bee around the beehive. Do you know what I mean? He just wants that fucking honey and gimme. And he's just an incredibly exciting fighter. He is like. I just think like a lot of people have said this could be too early for him. This level of fight, because when you look at who he's fought, like he's fought Donald Cowboy Cerrone, because a lot of people say, well, Cerrone's just a bloated lightweight. You know what I mean? So
lightweight, some people would say.
Yeah. And people would say, you put enough pressure on Donald Cowboy Cerrone, he'll buckle. That's not to take away from what Darren Till done. Like Darren Till, like man, I was jumping on my couch like a fucking lunatic, and I'm a Donald Cerrone fan. But
just how impressive it was.
Yeah, but plus when we interview fighters, they become my best friend, that way. So because with Darren's been on the show twice with us, I'm like, yeah, we're now best mates. But
Donald, if you want to become Noel's best mate, just come on the show. I know that's what he wants.
Of course it is. Donald's listening now. He's one of the 6 listeners right now.
we need to schedule these better.
Yeah, we really need to schedule these better. But for me, if that fight happens, incredible. Yeah. What more would you like to see in it? Like I know with Jason Knight on, who's a guest as well. That's a big fight for Jason Knight. Yeah, he can chase, get it. He definitely needs it. We couldn't. First time we had Jason on, he had just fought Chaz Skelly, and when we rang him, he was watching the fights back, and just with his Mississippi Maine accent, he just gets wasted. Chaz Skelly just had me and Rob for about a month. Every time me and Rob walk by one another and walk, we literally go Chaz Skelly. But when you look at Jason Knight, Rob, he needs a win. Like he took the big fight against Ricardo Lamas, it didn't go his way. Then he lost to Gabriel Benitez, unanimous decision. So this is a big fight for Jason Knight. When you look at, there was a lot, like the momentum had built behind Jason Knight, and he was on a 4-fight win streak in the UFC. He just looked like this almost throwback MMA fighter who's I'll fight anyone, anytime. I don't think that's changed, but does he need to change his tactics and be a little bit more tactical going into these fights now? Yeah,
potentially. And if you want to compare it to the Darren Till fight, when you were talking about potentially Wonderboy could be, if they made a fight, it could be too early. You could say that with Jason Knight with the Lamas fight, and maybe it was just a little bit too early. Maybe he needs to get brought along a little bit slower. Like you look at the build of some of the biggest stars in the sport, like Conor McGregor, he got a slow enough build in the UFC. He got manageable fight. Not that they were easy fights, but they were fights that made sense in a way. He didn't just
remember who did he fight? Who did he fight in the second fight? That fella you're talking about, Conor McGregor. Who did he fight?
In his what?
The second fight was against Max Holloway, wasn't it?
Yeah, young Max Holloway.
Yeah, all right. Yeah. No, it's quite funny now when you say,
although at the time, and for the longest time, I was like, when people were like, oh, he's fighting, this guy now. I was like, well, I think Max Holloway was the toughest fight that he's ever had, because even back then, Max Holloway was like crazy talented, but he still was a young, unrefined Max Holloway who was losing fights to Dennis Bermudez and stuff like that. And Dennis Bermudez isn't bad, but this Chaz Kelly, the Jason Knight one, he needs to get back on track, and I hope he does, because he's a very exciting fighter to watch. But maybe he just needed a little bit of a slower build, and I'm not sure how quick he came back after that loss.
Yeah, it was pretty quick.
It was pretty quick, yeah. So, and it was a bad loss. So, yeah.
But something that the ring boy is on, Theodore was on the card. But it's something that you were calling out. You wanted see a couple of fighters here. Like, big news on this as well. That obviously it was on the Paddy Pimblett was on MMA. Or was that this week or last week? It was on. I can't remember.
Last week.
Paddy Pimblett was on, and he basically said, "No, I'm in Mexico." He's like, "I'm in Mexico when the UFC's here." So it's the girlfriend's birthday, so I won't be on it. And I think that came as a shock to a lot of people. But what did you think about
especially
what Paddy Pimblett said? Yeah, big time. Ariel thought he was getting the inside scoop.
Yeah, he was like, "This is so perfect, isn't it, Paddy? Like, the card just got announced, and now you're here. I'm not on the card." And he's like, "What?" He's like, "What? What the hell's going on?"
That was a really good Ariel impression, by the way.
It was decent. Apparently, I don't know if this is about me. I assume it is. Rocking the Helwani beard. Fair enough. I had this beard since I've been out of womb.
Yeah.
So
first thing his mom done wasn't feed him, it was to give him a quick shave, make him look presentable.
Yeah. It's your communion, you can't have a beard. Where were we?
We see a couple of fighters. We're saying want to see a couple of fighters on the card, like local fighters, local talent.
Yeah, on the Liverpool card. Yeah. I'd love to see Fish Gold potentially on the card. Look, like Tapology have this card like proper built, don't they?
Oh, Tapology are on it.
Yeah, on it. Like, if this is the full card so far, and I haven't seen all these fights announced, I've seen some of them. Like, there's not many spaces left. There really isn't. So we probably can't expect a lot more fights to be added to that. And as well, when we were speaking to losing the name, Danny Henry, he was talking about potentially getting on this card, and he was told by the matchmakers that this card is actually, they've pretty much filled it already. They're just kind of dripping the fight announcements. So we probably can't expect anyone who was signed recently or maybe who we think potentially be on the card to get on this, because by all accounts it's full. It's already set. So yeah.
James Kane there commenting, was Story Kane, Jay, whatever you mean. He was saying, yeah, Molly McCann, Jay was preaching to me at the boxing there on Saturday night at Celtic Clash that he'd love to see Fish Gold and Molly McCann. And I think like them with Pimblett were the obvious choices, I think, for if anyone was to get out it. Like, I know the likes of Reece McKee and stuff like that were calling, I wouldn't mind a trip to Liverpool and stuff like that. But I do think Fish Gold and Molly McCann are the two. And Paddy Pimblett, except he's in Mexico. Beautiful part of parts of the world there, Paddy. You will enjoy Mexico. I frequented there last year. But just in case anyone didn't know. But it's a terrible running joke. Yeah, they're the ones that make sense, I think, Fish Gold and Molly McCann. But that card, man, it's for... we were, again, talking about this in work, sort of saying, like, that card is a spectacular card. Like, it's like for, you know, as much as flack, and this could be it as well, as much flack as they got for with the UFC London card, it doesn't look like they're doing this. But I wonder, are they almost sweetening the pot a little bit as well because they took it away from Dublin?
In what way do you mean? Sweeten the pot?
They're gonna fatten the card up a little bit, put like some big names on it, like, because, like, let's be honest, we were sort of saying about, you know, we could go off to London and Liverpool, but, like, you know, Liverpool is literally, like, people go from Ireland to Liverpool every other weekend, either to go see Liverpool, Everton, or even just go with the road to Manchester. So it's not a pilgrimage, you know what I mean? It's literally, lads, it's 40 minutes up on the plane, up and down, you're there, you know what I mean? And you're drinking awful beer. So, like, it's a great quick little turnaround. Like, it'll take you longer to get to the airport, depending where you are in the country. Obviously not if you live right beside the airport, but it'll take you longer to get to the airport than it will on the plane to Liverpool. It'd be a great day out, I suppose. Or it'd be a great weekend. A great weekend if you go to both. But they are stacking this card up pretty well. There's some good names on it, especially top of the card. If the main event happens that has been rumoured, or if Darren Till fights pretty much anybody, people are going to get excited about it. But then the co-main event, which is Neil Magny versus Gunnar Nelson,
potentially could have been a headliner. Maybe not now because Gunner's coming off a loss, but if he won that last fight, it could have definitely been a headliner. So it's a great fight. And then Makwan Americani against Jason Knight is a cracker. That could be a quality fight.
And Bisping. So people listening, if you want to interact in the chat there, should Bisping be on the card? And if he is, who does he fight? And if the rumour fight between Wonderboy wasn't to happen, who would just want to see Till fight? But or do you think the Wonderboy fight is the must go to?
Yeah.
Because I do think it makes sense. A couple of things, Rob, we want to talk about, and sure, why not talk about her? Ronda Rousey, Rob. Did you read the article about her? She's a week and a half away from WrestleMania 34. We're not going to talk about WWE, folks, because anyone who knows me knows that I don't listen to that. But
that's why I'm here.
She was basically saying that she feels she'd done more than she needed to for the UFC. She actually was trying to get her way out, and she wanted to bow out with honours, I suppose is the best way. I'm absolutely ruining what she said, but in other words, she also said she didn't think that the division would survive without her.
Yeah, Ronda Rousey's a weird one, like a weird case. Like, it's hard to read her in a way. I just don't buy that the reason why she didn't leave was because she didn't think the division would have survived, because I just think that Ronda Rousey is ultra talented and she couldn't accept the fact that she was going out on a loss. Like, even now, if you look at the interviews that she does, and I know the one that she done with your man, I'm not sure what his name is, and it was a weird kind of heated interview where he asked her a question and she was like, I don't know, and she was being
ESPN's Brett Okamoto, was it?
No, it wasn't Brett Okamoto. It was somebody else. I can't remember who it was, but it was a weird interview, and she kind of she was very non-committal to a lot of things. But I think that's just, it was probably her playing the character as well, playing the wrestling character or whatever. I'm not sure, but I do think that she really can't kind of put that behind her because she's just super competitive. I haven't read her book, but from all the stuff that I've heard, you've read it, have you? From the stuff that I've heard, that like when she wrote what she wrote in the book, or I'm not sure if she had a ghostwriter, that she's just crazy, super, ultra competitive, and she just finds it very difficult to get over losses, and especially losses that she had to Holly Holm, and the loss that she had to Amanda Nunes, which were just absolutely devastating, not in just the physical sense, but the mental sense of like being out there in front of a huge crowd. You're one of the biggest draws in the sport, and then you lose like that. That must just be absolutely devastating.
The way she lost at both of them fights as well, though, like she literally chased Holly Holm around the cage and she just wasn't there, and then Amanda Nunes just absolutely destroyed her. Like they looked like they were playing different sports. They really did. Like, you know, there was just no comparison. And I think, you know, for everything Ronda Rousey, this is the thing we always say about MMA as well. You know, it's like me talking about, you know, I love the storylines and all that, you know, but it's weird that I'm not a WWE fan considering the storylines. No, but I love seeing a happy ending, you know what I mean, and a fairy tale. And
happy ending.
Realistically, now Rob, don't make it dirty. If MMA gave a shit or had a soul, Ronda Rousey would have bowed out in the win because what she done for women's MMA. Yeah. But it doesn't go.
MMA doesn't.
Doesn't live by the script. So she went out, and I from me reading that article today, I read the article. I know there's a couple of different ones, but I actually read the article on Bloody Elbow.
Okay.
And from me reading that, it was real. She still had that little chip on her shoulder, you know what I mean? That fucking lost. You know what I mean? And it's still eating away at her. But that's why a lot of the greats get to the top of the sport, because they have that underlining madness of and need for success, and that's why they get there. But look, she's off playing wrestling now, so best of luck to her. And she said that's what she wants to do now, is enjoy her life, and not be, you know, not the only thing has ever been. I'm only here to enjoy myself. That's the only thing that I've ever been a priority in my life. So best of luck, Ronda Rousey, you know. And
did you listen to Chael Sonnen on Chris Jericho's podcast?
I didn't know Chris Jericho had a podcast, and no, I didn't.
He has a podcast, now you know. But he was on it. Chael Sonnen was on it, and he was talking about Ronda Rousey because, you know, for the obvious reasons. He's an MMA fighter. Chris Jericho was a wrestler, or still is a wrestler. And you're talking about Ronda Rousey, and you were trying to say, like, will she fit in? And apparently that she has like backstage heat because she's coming in as the, you know, the big kind of the MMA draw, and all these are saying, oh, you're taking my spot, all that kind of stuff. But apparently he was talking about her, and like since she got with Travis Brown and this, and saying that she's not allowed to talk to anybody and all this. It was just weird. Not that I want to talk about all these weird kind of gossipy things, but it was just weird that Chael Sonnen went on this and then start talking about Ronda not being able to talk to any of our guy friends basically anymore. It's just weird.
Well, in fairness, Travis Brown was probably shitting himself that Derek Lewis is gone to be talking to her. You know what I mean? Fairness.
Going deep.
Going deep, Ronda. I actually seen a funny thing that just popped into my head because I was talking about Ronda Rousey. Owen Colgan with Darren Till today. Did you see that?
Yes. Sorry, I did. Yeah.
The question everybody wants to know is Ronda Rousey still with that lanky bastard? Great stuff. But yeah, that's weird. Who cares? Let's not get into the melodramatics. But like, if he is, he's just an asshole of a man. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I didn't really want to talk about it. I just thought it was weird that Chael Sonnen was bringing all this up. It's just I don't know.
Chael looks a little bit of gossip, I think, as well.
He does,
Swifto333, Jason Knight says he had a flu at last fight on Kobe's Corner podcast last week. He wants to rematch against Moby in the future. I didn't actually hear that, and I actually tried to look at everything that Jason Knight does. I'm just a fan of him. I think he's a cool dude, but I actually missed that. And again, like flu with cutting weight. I know Jason have to cut weight, and like you look at like a perfect example, and I know a lot of people go, oh, that you're just making excuses, or, you know, no fighter's 100%, but one that stands out, and it mightn't be, I don't know where you're from, one example I think that stands out for me is Rhys McKee against Tim Barnett. When they fought in Belfast, Rhys couldn't hydrate, and it was like Fleury symptoms, and you look at the difference in performance. He rematched Tim Barnett, and basically Tim Barnett.
When you look at that fight as well, and I don't know with Jason Knight, and you know, as you said, a lot of fighters have injuries and all these things going to fights, but if you do look at that fight, he didn't look right. He didn't look like he was fully fit. Even his face, he looked drained. The way he fought was not that the way he fought was completely different tactically, but I mean, it looked like he ran out of energy a lot quicker and all this. So it wouldn't surprise me if that happened, and hopefully next time out he's not in that state.
Nope, I was pressing buttons. Yeah, that's sort of Liverpool though, isn't it? Yeah, that's a thing. So yeah, that's Ronda covered as well. Just a quick question came in there. As a beat, oh man, I can't wait to watch. Here we go. Magomed Sharapova, whatever. I can say it when I. You know what? It's one of them names. It's like Joanna Jacek. When you look at it, you can't say it because you look at it and you sort of go, "What the fuck?" But yes, Khabib, man, this guy is hugely exciting, and I already think he's at the stage in the career where most people don't want to fight him.
Oh yeah, I completely agree. He's a scary prospect for anybody. He's absolutely terrifying. It's very exciting for it to watch, but it's just in terms of just his skills just seem to be completely up to scratch with everybody else, and how far he can go, it's hard to say. But I wouldn't, if someone says that guy is going to be a champion in the next year and a half, 2 years, I probably wouldn't be able to argue the point, you know. He's just phenomenal, and I can't wait to see his next fight.
And something I said earlier, I love watching Gunny Nelson fight because he just does things smooth and calm and precise. While when you watch Khabib fighting, it's almost like you don't know what's going to happen. So you're like, yeah, this is going to be amazing. And he can just pull off some stuff that you probably have to Google to find out what he just threw. And it's pure entertainment. Yeah. I don't think we're going to delve too much into 223. We'll talk a little touch on it, but we want to save that for Mr. Brendan Dorman when he's on the show showed us as well. But to summarise and say a simple way, I cannot wait to watch that fight. And it's so low down the card as well.
Yeah.
So it's like one of the first prelims. I think it's either first or second prelim.
Yeah, I think generally what we do with the cards, and if you ever watch our show, we kind of look at the main card. So we can even look at a couple of the prelim fighters that are on 222. That fight, excellent fight. Down there as well, you have Artem versus Alex Caceres. I know you're not a big fan of Bruce Leroy. I think he's exciting to watch, and I like him. But that's a good fight. You know, Artem is always exciting to watch.
It's, you know what it is? It's Alex. I've talked about this so many times. It's his personality. It's the way he went on in the Big Brother house, the tough
Big
house.
Brother house.
Yeah, and that was it. I'm like, don't like him, and it stuck with me. But he's had a few fights that I've thought, yeah, they were good. But you know, he's fighting the Siberian train. Choo choo.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. Do you remember that? Joe Lozon against Chris Gutzmacher is on the card as well. Joe Lozon, you know, I love Joe Lozon. I'm not sure.
Rob, you're about to do your Dan Mulvaheady here.
Am I?
Your version of, I wasn't the referee, I wasn't looking in his eyes.
Yeah.
Who am I to tell a fighter to retire or to give it up? Come on, keep it going. That's what Rob's going to say.
Who am I to no? Joe Lozon, I'm looking forward to see Joe Lozon every time. I'll just say that.
Before we skip on to 223, because you're going to start going on for it as well, because we're just sort of going. If you're only joining us, we were sort of talking about Bellator, we're talking about UFC London or UFC Liverpool, but as well, Bama lands back in Air Shores. For Bama 35, and that falls on the 12th of May. Rob, I won't be there. I won't be covering with you. I'm in Newry. Cage Legacy is on that. Cage Legacy Newry, but they've released two excellent fights. Magic Miles Price, Team Rhino, taking on Pedro Carvalho, who just beat Ibrahim Kantiev in Cage Legacy 6-7. And Pedro, obviously we were due to have Pedro on, so I'm sure we'll have Pedro on leading up to this. But two, that's an excellent fight. Like I've been ultra impressed with since watching Carvalho fight and taking on Miles Price, an absolute vet here and a fantastic fighter. But Alex Lahore against Ian Pascu has also been confirmed on the card as well. So a welterweight bout and a lightweight bout. We don't need to go into too much. We'll talk about that, I think, more
as
more
it comes. Yeah.
But again, big news, Bama, another big promotion coming to the 3 Arena in Dublin. Yeah,
it's great. Yeah, it's two great fights. I'm looking forward to talking about them a little bit more in depth on the show as it gets a little bit closer, and probably having some of the guys on as well to chat with.
James Kane just said before we move on again, just asked Rousey and Cyborg both in their prime thoughts.
Cyborg probably fairly handily based on what we've seen.
I think, like, I don't think you can say Ronda Rousey wasn't in her prime when she fought Amanda Nunes.
Yeah, good point.
Like she wasn't not in her prime, so I think Cyborg hits harder than Amanda Nunes. So imagine what Amanda Nunes done, but quicker and probably more violent.
I think arguably as well, I think Cyborg is better at defending takedowns. In the clinch, I don't know. Cyborg, I think, has some problems in the clinch. I think we've seen that against in our last fight. I think in the clinch she can get caught up a little bit in there. She's not great at kind of moving around in there, but she's still fairly good. But I just think defending takedowns, she's better than Amanda Nunes, and I think striking wise she's more vicious, more ferocious, has more power. Technically probably just as good. So yeah, I don't see how that would have went well for Rousey.
Carl Doran special here. Why don't you SADA make their own supplements, Rob?
Somebody asked that, or did Carl say that?
No. I'm just saying it. I'm tipping the cap to Carl, because Josh Barnett now owns, and he's basically been cleared and thought, no ban, sorry about that, was tainted supplements. So Barnett, who is, up there in age, what age is Josh Barnett?
Man, he's close to 40, if not 40, isn't he?
Yeah.
I'm checking out. Josh Barnett.
But yeah, basically, Josh Barnett he tested positive back and went through the whole USADA thing. The samples collected in December 2016, but Barnett was able to prove that the failed test came to tainted supplement. The concept of USADA is not bad. Barnett told MMA Fighting, and the idea of creating something that has protocol, blah, 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 blah. So he's basically saying USADA is a good idea, but like he's not the first fighter to be exempt and to be, or not exempt is the wrong word, to be reinstated and told, oh yeah, sorry, that was a tainted supplement you're taking there. But
he's technically the only fighter to not get a punishment, although I think he would argue that he did get a punishment because he's been off for so long. That's basically over a year of potential earnings that he lost. Yeah, exactly.
And like as we're saying, the old War Master is not the youngest.
Yeah, he's 40
years of age.
40 years of age. So he's not the youngest of cats, as they say. But yeah, so he's the first guy to actually get off with it in a way, even though he didn't really. But there has to be something that this can't happen because, you know, especially in a fighter's career when they're older. Now it's terrible if they're young anyway. But if they're an older fighter and they did take a tainted supplement, which again does in a way fall back on them because they need to be careful with what they're taking. And generally reputable brands will be okay, so you can kind of have that point. But I think it's wrong that guys have to go through all these trials and whatever to prove that it was a tainted supplement, but still have that year and a half off, where it's technically a suspension really. And not just that, afterwards, even though his name is cleared in a way, it's not really, people are still going to be calling him, you know, a cheat. That's just going to happen. That's just nature. And to be fair, he has cheated in the past, so there is that. Yes. But still, you know, in this case, technically he didn't.
With it surely has to be simple, right? You sign for the UFC, you have to wear Reebok, right? Yeah. It's just the thing, you know. Forget your nice Adidas tracksuit. No, forget that Nike one. It's Reebok. So why can't they do that?
No pennies tracksuits for them either.
Yeah, you sign no Cedarwood.
Cedarwood tracksuits.
You sign for the UFC as soon as you sign, because you have to enter the USADA testing pool anyway. But you sign with the UFC, and bang, you have to take these supplements. These are the only USADA UFC approved supplements, or something like. It has to be something like that, and they should be supplied to you because, like. I don't know. It's just it's something that's going on, and you know, and you see, like the problem is that like a lot of these places where these supplements are made, they're, you know, that's where the problem comes from. You know, they're
may contain nuts
there, and yeah, exactly.
May contain nuts.
Yeah. So it's a weird one, and Josh Barnett paid the price.
That's a decent name. That's a decent name for if you want to do a documentary about tainted supplements. That's actually a decent name for a documentary. May contain nuts. Isn't it?
Copyright that.
Yeah, lads, don't take it. Swifto, I know you.
Yeah,
don't take it.
Right. What's next? Do we want to talk about UFC 223? Touch on a little bit before Brendan Dorman give out.
Just a little bit, just a tiny little bit, just to give it a bit of a tease. Did you listen to any of the press conference? The conference call today. I know you missed it, most of it, I guess.
No, didn't hear any of it.
I don't think you missed a whole lot. From what I listened to, it was just Tony Ferguson being crazy Tony Ferguson, you know, like I'm training right now as I'm talking. I think he was running, and I think he was on the phone while he was running. I'm not sure exactly what was going on, and it was just Khabib laughing, and then them just two bickering. So, you know, there wasn't a whole lot going on there.
Did you mention tiramisu a good few times?
He did.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. I had a feeling like that. Yeah.
It was mentioned.
This fight. First of all, is it for the title? Is it not for the title? That comes into it. So this fight, they've sold this fight so many times before, it's fallen through. So I honestly think they don't really need to sell this anymore. It's already got fans talking. What I've noticed about this fight as well, actually, is a lot of the people who only talk about MMA on your social media feed when Conor is fighting, or if a Brock Lesnar was fighting, or seem to be talking about this. There's a bit of chatter going on about this and the co-main event as well. So it'll show how big and important this fight sort of is, that the neutral, the casual fan is involved in this fight. I think that's big.
Yeah, it's big, and I think there probably is the case that it's almost linked to Conor. You know, you have to bring that into the case where it's like maybe the winner of this will fight Conor. Who knows? Maybe not. Maybe Conor will come back and fight Nate Diaz or something. But
wouldn't surprise me.
Wouldn't surprise me in the slightest. But I think that the fact that this is in his division, it's for the title that he holds, or potentially a title. I don't know what Dana White is saying. He's saying it's going to be for the undisputed title, but Conor isn't stripped. Weird.
Yeah, like if you think about it, there was rumours of Nate coming back there not too long ago, and then he was at the old event, giving it large like that. So
the best 20 seconds of UFC TV ever. It was, what was it? It was Derek Lewis and his post-fight thing, wasn't it? Going deep thing, and then it switched to Nate Diaz.
And the two kids, one kid idolising Nate Diaz for doing it, and the other kid in complete shock, like going, "Oh my god!" And Nate just going, yeah. But I don't think that's coincidence, and I don't think it's coincidence that Conor McGregor has been seen in his gym on his social media feed quite a lot and tweeting things like "Stay ready." It wouldn't surprise me. Me and you are again people. Me and Rob don't just come online and talk to one another. We actually work with one another. But Rob you've been singing the Nate Diaz fight and for a long time, that could be the fight he comes back to, and it wouldn't surprise me if you said it today, Rob. So I'm sort of robbing what you said, that with Tony and Khabib fighting, that if Conor was to come back and let's say have a fight in 2 or 3 months time against, let's say, Nate Diaz, that he'd have that fight, and then the winner fights the winner of this or something along the lines like that. So that wouldn't surprise me at all. Yeah,
I think my pick was that I just thought that was gas a minute ago, that was the taking the hands coming in, taking the Ferrero Rochers, look gas. I just think it's the matchup they're going to make. I think Conor wants that fight. Nate obviously wants that fight. He hasn't come back for any other fight, and I think that the fact that they made this fight now, not that Conor has an excuse, but you know, the opening is there to make the fight. It's not like there was no lightweight title fight, if you want to call it that. And you should call it that, I think. But there was no fight kind of on the horizon for anybody. So if Conor came back and fought Nate, people would have been like, why aren't you fighting Tony, or why aren't you fighting Khabib? But now it's kind of open for him to take it. So it would not surprise me if he came back in the next couple of months and fought Nate. Really would not surprise me.
Don't know if you've seen it today. Joanna Jędrzejczyk said she put up a picture of herself looking buff, I suppose, and looking like she's well on her way to weight, saying if you want to do something right, do it yourself. Yeah. So that, I think, was a little dig, I think, but we won't go too much because, again, I don't mind talking about the car, but I don't want to, because I know Brendan's going to deep and we'll go deep into it, so I don't want to be repeating herself for like a week's time. But
we can take some more questions there. There's a few questions there that we can take. Yeah. There's one there anyway. Lozon is finito. Potentially Clay Guida's first KO since 2008. Will Chiesa submit Pettis? When I first saw this fight, Pettis versus Chiesa, I thought terrible matchup for Anthony Pettis. I think this is an awful matchup for Anthony Pettis. I think that what Anthony Pettis has been saying since the matchup has been announced hasn't been, for me anyway, he hasn't really convinced me that he's turned a corner in his mentality of, he kind of just said he wants to fight strikers in a way. It kind of reminded me of Rampage. Remember Rampage? I think he kind of still says it. But especially, but late,
he said it before he fought Chael Sonnen. He's guaranteed to give me Chael Sonnen. All he's going to do is wrestle fuck me.
Yeah, and late UFC when he was just losing all the fights, and it was just kind of him saying, "Oh, I just want to fight strikers." Well, unfortunately, this is MMA, and this is what you have to deal with. And if you have a weakness in a certain situation, certain position, somebody's going to exploit it. And I just think that Michael Chiesa is a terrible matchup for Anthony Pettis, unless Anthony Pettis shows up to the way he used to be, the showtime that he used to be, and that he can be on his toes, get away from takedowns, and outbox him and outkick him. But
and this is a Michael Chiesa coming back after defeat to Kevin Lee. So that was under strange circumstances where he was disputing the choke and stuff like that. So I think you're going to see a hungry Chiesa, and he's taken time away. I remember when I watched that fight, I thought Chiesa would be back in there pretty quick because, you know, the method of how he lost. But yeah, he's taken a long time off, in fairness. So I agree with you, Rob. I think it's a terrible matchup for Anthony Pettis. The same way, this is just how I compare, I think it's a bad matchup is the same way Dustin Poirier and Gaethje. Gaethje's a terrible matchup for Dustin Poirier, just by how Poirier can crumble when he hits, and Justin Gaethje can get hit with a freight train unless you are Eddie Alvarez and get him knocked out. So yeah, I just think it's a bad matchup, and I agree with you with Anthony Pettis. It's that jumped out for me as well. I'm like, oh, holy shit, like Jess is going to take him down and like just beat him up on the ground and tap him out.
Speaking of Dustin Poirier, I seen something on Reddit, and I'm going to try something here now. Hopefully this works. If it doesn't work, it'll be an absolute fail. And if anyone has any more questions, get them in quick, because we're not going to be around for too much longer tonight. But I'm going to try get this web page up. I should have Reddit here. Your mic might go off for a second. Let me just see. Is that working? Can we see that? Kind of can. Yeah, I think we can. Okay. Just speaking of Dustin Poirier, I seen a thing on Reddit today about Dustin Poirier. There. Dustin Poirier says that Justin Gaethje fight at UFC on Fox 29 can be as hard or as easy as I make it. So he seems to think that the fight is actually well suited to him, and I think what he's saying is that he can either fight in a reckless way and make it a difficult fight, or fight smart and make it an easy fight. But you obviously disagree with that based on what you said a minute ago.
Sorry, I'm also laughing at Russell Carlo Kelly. I'm just going, oh, Delhi is he's in April, Delhi. Russell Carlo Kelly, very funny. I think Poirier is technical. I think he's a very technical fighter. He has moments in his fights where his technique will do him well, but if he gets embroiled in any time, I think you only have to look at the Conor McGregor fight and you see mentally his ego allows him to fall into things or be defeated mentally, and I just think Justin Gaethje is just going to walk him down. He may land shots on Gaethje. It'd be interesting to see how Gaethje's chin is after that defeat to Eddie Alvarez. Sometimes it just takes that one knockout or big shot to affect the chin forever. But I disagree with that. If he stays on his bike and picks apart, I can see him winning a decision over Justin Gaethje. But if he stands and strikes with Justin Gaethje, it got me blocked from Dustin Poirier back in the day on Twitter. He's one of my 2 blockers that block me on Twitter.
I always find that funny that he blocked you.
Yeah, I'm nice on Twitter, but I'd quoted Conor McGregor about calling him P-head, so it was a direct Conor McGregor quote, and I said something like Conor McGregor said, so it wasn't like I was calling him P-head, you know what I mean? And I think Conor said something like a jab and he's wobbled or something like that, or the door closes in the wind and he's wobbled or something, I can't remember, but he blocked me. But Poirier, his chin is questionable. There's no ifs, ands or buts about that. But I think he's a lovely fighter. I think Dustin Poirier technically, his movement, how he moves, how he throws his combinations, how he sets up, how he creates angles, he can mix it up, getting the takedowns. You look, Joe Duffy, what are you doing? Duffy, that was a fantastic performance against Joseph Duffy.
Yeah, brilliant.
But Poirier has that, but I just think Justin Gaethje is the type of fighter that is not the good matchup stylistically for Dustin Poirier. He'll prove me completely wrong and absolutely
we do this sometimes on the show where we do reading Reddit, and might as well kind of finish up on this and go through Reddit. But I thought this was funny. I want both guys to win. How do I make that happen? Easy. Poirier KOs Gaethje. Gaethje will say he won because he was on knockout instead of getting a decision loss. Worked last time. And then don't do CTE, kids. Justin Gaethje is just a crazy individual, isn't he?
Yeah,
crazy individual.
He's fun. It's almost like what I said a minute ago with when we were talking about Jason Knight. Yeah, similar style, old fashioned slugfest. If these guys are in the Wild West, they'd be outside the saloon pulling their guns and shooting one another.
Yeah. Somebody said it's Nick Zardiashvili. Sounds Georgian. I don't think an easy fight with Gaethje is physically possible. And then Corky83 said, not when you get lured into a war as easy as Dustin does. He'll have a plan of fighting smart and then he'll abandon after 10 seconds. I think that's pretty much what you said. I don't think Gaethje's an easy fight, and Dustin Poirier's style generally doesn't feed into or doesn't really turn out well against the type of fighter that Justin Gaethje is. I think that's good.
We said when we were breaking down the Eddie Alvarez fight, and I was the only one out of ours to pick Eddie Alvarez, by the way, I just thought I'd bring that up again. Very good. Even a broken clock is right twice a day. But is that, like, you know, Justin Gaethje's style, it's Wild West, as I was saying. It's a crazy style of fighting, how he just puts his chin on the line in each fight, and it's worked for him. But I said against the higher echelon guys that won't work, because they have both the power, the technique, and they have the fighting smarts not to get embroiled in them. I just think Dustin Poirier's ego, or maybe not his, it might even be his ego, maybe he just gets involved and goes, fuck it, come on, we'll have a laugh.
Yeah, we'll have a scrap.
Exactly, but I think that could be his downfall if he does that. Yeah. But if Dustin Poirier beats Justin Gaethje, holy shit, what a victory!
Yeah, excellent victory. Damon Martin on Twitter confirmed with Jimmy Smith MMA that he'll be rocking the goatee at UFC 223. So the broadcast team will officially be Joe Rogan and Evil Joe Rogan. There we go. It is kind of funny though. We always joke about it that like, there's obviously, we don't think there's a huge number of comparisons, just that they both do the same job. They're both do jiu-jitsu, they're both martial artists. They have different tones of voice, but I just think that's funny. I love the picture. What else is there? I seen something earlier on. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to find it now. It was a while ago. It was Eddie Bravo. There it is. There, Eddie Bravo sets up banana split, but finishes with his first twister in competition. Did you see this?
Yeah.
So beautiful. Stick it on. Have a watch. Look at this. Man, Eddie Bravo is an absolute wizard at jiu-jitsu. It's just crazy weird.
Just Google it, man.
Look into it. I don't know. Look at that. There we go.
Look at that footage. Look at that in the footage.
Yeah. There's some great comments in this as well. I was reading it earlier, and we have to go through them because some of them are hilarious. There we go. Oh my god.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. So the comments in this is, of course, are going to be amazing. The impressive thing is that he did this during an earthquake. Really? Look into it. The entire match actually took place in complete darkness and was filmed on a high-level infrared camera. Astonishing the levels of detail that managed to pick up. Filmed by the CIA. Ready.
Love it.
Yeah. Some man for it. And then just have a few other things there, but I don't think there's much else. Yeah.
See, Cub Swanson was saying he thought he was done with the UFC as well.
Yeah, I saw that. I thought maybe potentially the way he was talking, it could have been that he was done. But yeah, I seen that as well. Did you see this as well? Karolina Kowalkiewicz said that I would not bet on Joanna. In my opinion, Rose will win again. The fight will probably take longer than the first time, but the final result will be the same. It seems to me that Joanna will be finished. I don't know if she means Joanna will be finished as a whole, as in this is probably going to be her done.
I think it means finished as in knocked out.
Yeah.
TKO.
Do you want to give an early prediction on that, or do you want to reserve your judgment reserve your right to make a judgment on it until we speak to Brendan Dorman?
Let me watch all the embeddeds. That's where I get on me picks from. See, you make me pick on a Monday night, and then I haven't watched any of the embeddeds, and then I'm watching all the embeddeds, and I'm going, oh, you know what? I'm switching here, you know. Swift said Dustin beat Eddie. No, he didn't. It was a foul. It wasn't. It was a no contest, wasn't it? And I actually think, against what everybody else thinks, I think Eddie Alvarez was going to win that fight. I think he took what Poirier done and was coming back, and it was the momentum had swung to the Underground King. I think he was going on to beat him.
Yeah, then, I think so too.
Yeah,
I agree.
Sorry, Swifty, disagree with you on that one. I'm calling him Swifty now. I've just adopted Rick and Morty, and I'm just calling you Swifty. Everybody gets Swifty.
Yeah.
Usman, was giving out about Dana White about the 30% thing, but like, you know, don't say that shit, you get in trouble for that.
Yeah.
So what I wanted to talk about briefly, it's only because I wanted to say it. Clan Wars 31 at the weekend. Ian Gary, who I obviously speak a lot about through Chris Fields as well, lost at the weekend to Andrew Spinder in a great fight between two young fellas who actually competed against one another back in the day in judo. Clan Wars super show as always. Ian Gary, I think he was a bit taken back by it, that he was surprised, but Andrews sort of had a chip in his shoulder, I think, coming into that fight against Gary, and I think he showcased that during the fight. But I'm sure all the fights are going to be up on Fight Star Media on YouTube soon, so go check them out. Rob's putting fights up on the TV. What are we watching now?
This is the spinning back fist by Emmanuel Newton against King Mo. Boop!
King Mo, oh yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah.
Then he caught him like he was
like hugging him.
Yeah, like yeah. Don't worry.
Man.
I got you, man. I got you.
Yeah, I got you.
Phenomenal. Look at this. Watch it again. Bing. Do you ever see?
How are you a fan of the round cage?
The round cage? Do you not like it?
I wonder, as a fighter, is it different? You know, when your back's up against it, because
I'd say so.
Yeah, you know what I mean. It's just it's yeah, and they've a lot more stickers on their cage as well, so which I imagine is a lot more susceptible to being slippy.
Yeah, probably, and it's harder to corner the people. You know, like it's hard to corner somebody in the octagon, but at least there is some corners. Like at least with a boxing ring, it's so much easier, or a kickboxing ring, it's so much easier. But with the octagon, it's difficult. But then with the circular cage, it's probably impossible.
It's pretty handy to jump over by all accounts, though.
Hey, well done. Slow. Let me read this first before we watch it. Slow Mike Rodriguez deads Jamil Jones with a flying knee.
Dead. Oh, do you know we never talked about?
Holy I remember that.
Do you know we never talked? About it. See, I have a delay. I can't say. I have to watch the YouTube stream.
Yeah.
And click
oh yeah, you do have a delay. Yeah. Forgot about that.
We never spoke about the knock yourself out while throwing a hammer fist.
Oh man, yeah.
And then have a gentleman backflip off your back.
I think you said it was like one of the most disrespectful things you've seen.
I was sort of saying, like, what more disrespect could he do apart from give him a wedgie or something like
yeah.
Like it was a weird to even celebrate when you didn't knock him out, he knocked himself out.
Yeah.
So to even then go and celebrate like that was peculiar in itself.
So strange.
But yeah, it was. Oh, it was. Remember, you know, it was one of the most. I don't even think it was disrespectful, but remember your man, all the tattoos all over his face, was roaring at the weigh-ins.
Yes.
And then he gets
to
Ben, and it's like
Ben and Gwen, wasn't it? Ben and Gwen.
Yeah, Ben and Gwen. Yeah. That was pretty disrespectful there, but like the guy has knocked himself out in quite a funny way, if you know what I mean. He won the fight in a peculiar way. Yeah. And then he's standing on his back and do a backflip off it. Rightly disqualified? Oh,
absolutely, yeah. There's no question. It was just completely disrespectful. Yeah. There's not much to say about it. I know he did apologise, so, you know, hopefully he doesn't do that again, because the first thing, he could have, like, really hurt the guy. You know? He could have really hurt. He jumped on his spine and then flipped on him. Like, he could have really hurt him. And then just the whole disrespect of it is just mental. One thing that we didn't touch on, and we'll finish with this because it's getting a bit late. Benson Henderson, he was on the MMA Hour and he was talking about his Bellator career so far, and he was very candid about it. He said that he believes that it's been anticlimactic, and I don't think many people can disagree with that sentiment.
Understatement. Yeah, because he went, like, Benson, when he left the UFC, it was he was, a lot of people I think thought of Benson Henderson as, you know, geez, the UFC are really letting go of a big talent. Like his last fight in the UFC, he beat Masvidal. Split decision. Yeah. You know what I mean? So you're thinking, right, and wow, that's pretty big. Like, you know what I mean? He left the UFC on a 2-fight win streak. Yeah. Then goes to Bellator and has just had an awful time of it. Like to say, and in all his fights, he's looked unimpressive. Yeah. Like, he looks like the guy who's just turning up to work to get paid. You know, that sort of guy. He doesn't have any enthusiasm for his work or anything like that. That's what I get when you see Benson Henderson, and it's weird. And it was refreshing to see him speak so openly about it. So, you know, look forward to seeing him right that wrong, because Benson Henderson was a good time. You know, maybe he's just got to get that toothpick back in his mouth. Yeah, he was the king of that. Roger Huerta now was his next fight, isn't it? Yeah, Roger Huerta, which is just weird. Like, what a man. Roger Huerta was one of the kind of not first big stars, but I mean, in a new generation, and by new generation, I mean like post Chuck Liddell, not even post. I'm not sure what. You know what he was? He was the fighter in the right place at the right time. Yes. was snapped and he was put on like, I don't know,
Sports Illustrated, wasn't it?
Or something like that. So he was like, he's a dime piece. He looks the part.
He's the dime piece.
He won the fight. He looked well doing it,
but
So
if you were on Reddit now, people would ask, but is he a draw?
Is he a draw? No. Yeah. No. It's look.
Lose my number, bro.
Yeah, it's it's a weird fight, like, but yeah, look, it's a must win for Benson Henderson.
Yeah. Just one thing though, I will say about the interview. One thing I did not like about what he said in the interview was that he was talking about like what he needs to do to change, and Ariel asked him, "Do you think that maybe you need to change the style of your fighting?" And he said, "Yeah," but then he also said that I know when I go into these fights and it goes to the decision that I'm going to lose the decision, especially if it's in these guys' hometown. I can't trust the judges. But he seemed a little bit bitter about it. It was more like, I definitely should have won those decisions, and, the judges are completely incompetent and whatever. It was almost, what I felt like to me was that he was kind of feeling sorry for himself in a way, not really looking at himself and saying, okay, maybe I should have done this, this and this. It was, I done what I could do and the judges got it wrong, so maybe I need to do something different because the judges can't judge the fight correctly, if you get what I mean. That's what I kind of got from it, which, you could say was correct. Maybe you could say that he did win those fights, but then you look back at his UFC career and some of those close decisions that went to him, against the likes of Frankie Edgar, who a lot of people thought won, against Gilbert Melendez, who a lot of people thought won.
Yeah.
So, there was a bit of, on both sides, he had bad decisions on both sides. So I think his comments on that I didn't really like. It didn't really sound like he was kind of taking responsibility for his kind of lackluster performances in Bellator. Was more so, I done not as well as I could have, but I also, blame the judges more so on not getting these wins.
If this is your first time joining us on or coming across, obviously, Fight Talk, we're not normally in our gaff, as we say here in Ireland, or our houses or our homes. We're normally in a beautifully lit studio. We just didn't this week because Pretty Boy himself wasn't feeling very well on Monday. He was feeling poorly and he didn't come into work, so we didn't podcast. We normally record on a Monday night and it goes out on delay, or whatever you want to say, record on the we haven't started the obviously Shy Talk yet, but we could keep it going. Black Eyes production, we normally record, basically it's out on a Tuesday. It looks a lot better. We're not sat here, we're normally in studio, we normally have guests, but we do these live streams the odd time just to have an interact. But we didn't really set this one up because Rob was at me. I didn't know if I could have the free time tonight, and then it came about, so I was like, yeah, come on, let's do it. Right, come on, Black Eyes production, we're wrapping up. So what's your obviously Shy Talk, what you want to talk about?
Yeah, come on. There's a bit of a delay here. I don't think it'll come in.
Yeah.
For him, so.
What was it last time we talked about Batman and the Joker?
Do you know what? We could start off with Reddit because there's plenty of Shy Talk on Reddit, and I don't mean MMA Reddit, just Reddit in general. Look at this. I built my desk for my treadmill to accommodate New York. What's this shit? No, it's one of these long threads. No, don't mind that shit. Don't mind that shit. Don't mind that shit. We need some ideas for obviously Shy Talk. So I'm shit out of ideas.
What's this? Oh, we've got them photographs here. You know what I'm talking about.
Oh yeah. That doesn't sound
yeah.
People be like, what photographs?
For projects coming up.
Yeah. Nudes.
Love the Shy Talk. Give us a suggestion. MMA mix. They're obviously good. I'm on the spot. I don't have pointless non-media related.
Oh, come on, Black Guys production. Come on. We need a producer.
We talked about movies the last time.
Yeah.
Do you know what I don't understand?
Is this the start of a Seinfeld joke?
No, it does sound like that, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I sat on my young fella's gaming PC doing this, right? I had to kick my young fella off it. He spends hours playing this game called Roblox.
Yeah. What's the deal with Roblox?
Yeah, what's the deal with but what is the deal with Roblox? Why the fuck are kids loving this shit? Why he dressed down too hard. Alright, the reason for that was was I actually wasn't in work that day. Me and Rob film in work. Where we work, we film in. It's a little studio where we work, and we normally record. And I was actually on a day off. And although my hair, it's probably messed because whatever time, I just got out of the shower and I threw a baseball cap on. So there's no mad story to it. I didn't go to work looking like I was dealing cocaine on the street corner. I just threw a baseball cap on.
You just go out onto the streets and look like you're dealing drugs on the street corner, pretty much.
Yeah, and yes, it is that bleeding Lego looking game. I don't understand it. It's just they just play and they sort of build games like.
You've mentioned this to me a few times. That I still don't know what it is. I need to Google it.
He has this high power gaming PC that he can play Grand Theft Auto on and all these amazing graphic games like, and he plays this crazy stupid little robot. He done a very funny video though. The other day where all these roadblockers, they all stream like what we're doing now, except they play video games. So when somebody comes on, he has a name, you go, hey, any chance of a shout out? And he had his name down as GAPE. That was the first name, and then the second name was HORN. So people go, hey, gay porn, welcome to the channel. So,
gay porn? What?
Gay porn. Right, so he had gay porn as the name, and so he basically recorded him doing this and then made a video. But he then done another one. This one's a little close to the edge, this one now. But he put his profile picture as, let's just say, an Asian gentleman, and Colin said, I like Ray Ping. So someone will go, hello, I like Ray Ping.
What the?
Yeah, so this video is available, and it's up on his YouTube channel. So I've raised them well. I feel I've raised them well. How
long is this video, Black Guys Production, Donkey's video? If it's like under a minute, we could probably watch it here and react to it. But if it's more than that, we probably can't. But that's so weird, man. There's some weird stuff. I don't get. Like, I love. I am a bit of a gamer. I play some games, but I still don't get the idea of watching other people play games. And I have friends that watch people play games, and I don't get it. I get maybe looking at somebody who plays a game for like 10 minutes to see what the game looks like. Oh, cool, I'll buy that. But there's people who like that's a thing. Like, it's a big.
That's what they do. Because I grew up in the 80s, and we used to have like shit computer games. Like the Atari, the Spectrum, the Commodores. Then it's getting amazing, like with Nintendo, Super Nintendo, Mega Drive, Sega Mega Drive, and all this sort of stuff. But it's like then, like, you'd be sitting in your mate's gaff and he'd be playing, and he'd be sitting there going, give me a go, I'm sick of watching you play, give me a go. But yeah, it's basically, I don't understand people who sit and watch like something like I don't know, Call of Duty, and watching like people playing online, and you're not even involved playing online. It's fucked up. I'm playing that Fortnite though. That's pretty fun.
My brother keeps telling me to play it, my young brother. And it does look deadly. It kind of looks like, I don't know if it is like this, but it kind of reminds me of the Halo vibe, you know, kind of that online multiplayer Halo vibe type thing. I'm not sure. It's basically,
you go across this island on a school bus with a helium balloon above it, right? And this thing goes across the island, and you have to jump out. But the idea of it is, you all jump out unarmed.
Okay.
And there's all little villages or little shacks, and you gotta find guns, and there's this thing, they just call it a storm. So the circle of the storm keeps lessening and lessening and lessening, so it basically compacts everybody into one place, and it's 100 players, and if you survive and win, you get so many points and stuff like that. But the most I finished in it is second. It's shit fucking hard, because you've all these little fucking nerds who like sit at home playing it all day and just fucking build. They find out where the center of the fucking storm is, and they go there and build like these mad fucking, it's a mad game, it's a bit of crack, like, but people are fucking losing jobs and shit over because they're not going to work and just staying at home playing fucking Fortnite, like.
Mad stuff. What games did you play when you were wee lads? I think this is going to be maybe different for me and you, know, just different generations. But I played, my first gaming console was the Super Nintendo, and I played a lot of Mario. So Super Mario All Stars, I had like a lot of Mario games. I love Mario. I had Donkey Kong Country, which I loved.
See,
Zelda.
All these games you were mentioning now, these were all like high spec games.
Yeah, this is my first, man.
I played Paperboy.
Paperboy, I've seen that, yeah.
Paperboy. I played Paperboy, and then Sensible Soccer was the big one. But like Metal Gear Solid was huge when that came out on the PlayStation. Or the very first PlayStation, Resident Evil, was one of the greatest games.
Was great,
ever.
Yeah.
The very first one.
I was a big fan of Crash Bandicoot when it came out.
You see, I'm not into platform games.
No.
My missus, I bought me missus about a year ago an old Super Nintendo. I bought it from like a retro gaming store out in town.
Yeah.
Bought her Super Nintendo with all the Super Mario shit in it. So she'd sit the odd time and turn it on and play Super Mario.
Yeah. No, I love Super Mario. I just bought the Super Nintendo Mini about a month ago. It's quality, but the Medal of Honor and stuff. Call of Duty. Remember when Call of Duty kind of came out big on the PlayStation 3 or PlayStation 3 and Xbox? That was great crack playing with your mates as well. I don't know, like if you would have played Call of Duty.
Chat's hilarious. We're talking about game and Theo Giles comes in with a main question. This is obviously shy talk part. But no, GoldenEye. I played GoldenEye. I didn't own
GoldenEye was deadly. Yeah, GoldenEye was quality.
I used to play GoldenEye in my mate's gaff. That sounds dirty now. But no, we used to go down and one of my mates had a Nintendo 64 and we played GoldenEye there. I never liked the controller. The Nintendo 64 is a controller.
The middle thing?
The middle bit.
Yeah, the middle bit, yeah.
Fucking weird.
You didn't have to use that though, didn't you? No? You could use D-pad anyway.
You know what I mean? You fall in that remote control and you could have a nasty accident, you know what I mean?
Yeah, you could. I love GoldenEye was great.
Is Felder the underdog, Eloquent, is he?
Probably. Yeah.
I don't see Pettis winning.
Yeah, I don't see Pettis winning. Felder, potentially. And Tony, I don't see him winning, but it wouldn't be out of the realms of possibility for me.
See, this is interesting. We're now jumping back to games now. GTA San Andreas. Was that the first? I remember Grand Theft Auto when it was
the above. Yeah. No, that wasn't the first one. The first one was Vice City.
All the little fucking all the little orange fucking Harry Krishners going around.
Yeah.
Just used to slide into guns. Yeah. Fucking great stuff. Damn Grand Theft. I still remember you used to get into the old pickup truck because remember they used to have each style car you got first in Grand Theft Auto. You couldn't able to change the radio station. So if you got into a sporty car, it was really like, fucking whatever music. But when you got into an old shitty hick pickup truck, the song used to be "Men folk find their women scary 'cause they are so big and hairy," and still to this day that song still.
Yeah, it's quality. I remember GTA 1, like GTA 1, that was like the one with that you look down on, and I remember I got that for Christmas somehow, and I was young, I was quite young. I must have been didn't know what it was, bought it for me, and then I found out what the passwords were, and I remember there was like cheat codes, but you used to put them in. It was actually words, so it was all like bad words. It was like bastard and fuck off and all this, and then I was a kid, asked me dad how to spell it, and then I didn't see the game. I didn't see the game for a few weeks until I found it again. But yeah, that was funny.
The main games I grew up with was Golden Axe. Can you remember Golden Axe?
I do remember. I thought it would have been Pong. No, Pong.
Prick. Golden Axe or Streets of Rage. Yeah. Can you remember Streets of Rage?
I do remember them. Yeah. I had that was on what? That would have been on the NES, so the Nintendo. Oh no, the Sega. Sega. Yeah, Sega. I was more of a Nintendo guy. My cousin had the Sega, I had the Nintendo, so the odd time would kind of, here, take a lend of the Nintendo for a week and I'll take a lend of your Sega. But
the game though, because the first game, you probably all had cartridges, Rob. All your games are probably cartridges. I used to have tapes, and on the tapes, like a cassette, on the cassette you could have like about 20 games. So you used to have little markers, like little Tipex markers of this was this game, this was this game, this was this game, and you used to have to stick a pencil in to wind it to that certain part and shit, and I used to love that, but the game I used to love was a game called Rampage, and the fucking Rock is in it about that now.
Yeah, it's coming out, as a movie, which, whatever, I don't know what the hell that's going to be. Who wins the Champions League?
Fuck. I I tell you what, Man City could do it, and that hurts me because I'm a Man United fan. But City are pretty good. It's always hard to look past Barcelona, but I don't think they have a great setup this year. See, it's weird. City, I would pick City if I had to pick anyone. But Liverpool could do City with the way Liverpool play.
Yeah.
I don't know if the first leg is in Clanfield or not.
Yeah.
Or if the second leg is in Clanfield. If they get them back to Clanfield, they could do them.
I don't know. I haven't watched the Champions League this year, unfortunately.
Rob's a Leeds fan.
Yeah. Haven't watched it since 1999 or something. 2001. Now, I just kind of, I don't watch a whole lot of football anymore, unfortunately. Used to be an enormous football fan.
I'm a very depressed. Our shy talk has gone into gaming and now football. But yeah, we only do the shy talk on these live chats, lads. So we
should make like a graphic for like here or something. So when we're doing shy talk, we could like do it here, so people know when they come on. Like, this is supposed to be MMA. What the hell is this? Yeah,
Liverpool are very dangerous, but City are filthy. City are good. That breaks my heart. Yeah. But you know, the whole Champions League thing, you know, experience and all, the City are getting more and more experience, but it's weird. I just think City still suffer when they go away to the bigger teams, and like the classic, you know, Bayern Munich aren't the team they used to be, but the Germans, man, you know, they were robbed by Seville. Fucking, don't get me going. Fucking
get him going.
2 defensive midfielders in fucking Old Trafford against fucking Seville, and then we played 2 defensive midfielders against fucking Brighton in the fucking cup. You're managing Manchester United, me.
Big turd logo. I agree. Big turd logo.
Anyway,
Noel gets depressed when you bring up United losing.
Yeah, they're fucking brutal. Awful team to watch. I love Man United. Like I love Man United. Like I've watched every game this season. Like every game, except the first half of Crystal Palace, Rob.
Yeah.
But I've watched. I told Rob that when I don't watch Man United, they lose. When I don't watch Manchester United, they lose. And we were doing a podcast that was running a little bit late on a Monday night, and we were 1-0 down to Palace. And I was saying, see, told you, I'm fucking not watching them, and we're fucking losing. I got on the bus, and just as I got on the bus, I turned on the phone and was watching an illegal stream on Modbro. And just as I went on, Palace were celebrating 2-0. I'm like, fucking typical. But United came back and won 3-2. So as soon as I started watching them, we won 3-2. Now, I did watch them against Seville.
So the theory doesn't work all the time.
Theory, I think it might only be for Premier League football. But they were fucking woeful against Seville. And fucking, there's just so many fucking dead wood in that team.
I think we should probably not talk about United for any longer, because you're going to get depressed before you go to bed. Before we wrap this up in a big bow tie, what's the plans for the weekend? Any plans for the bank holiday weekend, for Good Friday?
Good Friday, I'm going to drink like a fish because the pubs are open. No, I am going bike shopping with my little man, my son. It was his 13th birthday, and we have to go and buy him a bike. So we're going bike shopping at the weekend, and that's really it, really.
Yeah.
Yeah, fights, so yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to go to see Ready Player One on Friday. That's
What's Ready Player One?
New Spielberg movie.
Looks
deadly.
It
looks really good. Based on a book that's apparently quite good. So, looking forward to seeing that.
Let's wrap it up on an MMA question. Theo Joe, so many people writing off. Tony, what you guys think? Without going into mad detail, because we will on thing, I think Khabib's going to win. I just think, like, when I watched Khabib Barboza, like how he just walked him down and done what he wanted to Barboza was just scary. It was absolutely scary. Am I writing Tony Ferguson off? Not a hope in hell, because he could just throw up some crazy submission out of nowhere, or he could land some mad striking combination and wobble Khabib and get it finished from there. But I just... what he's done to Edson Barboza just scares me, and it should scare most lightweights out there.
Yeah, I can't look past Khabib for now. Like, there's just like Tony Ferguson, as you said, he's an excellent fighter, one of the best fighters in the world. But there's just something about Khabib and how dominant he's been that it's very, very difficult to look past him. As you said, we'll talk about that fight more in much more depth and kind of technical side of things. But I just can't look past Khabib right now. And unless he looks terrible at weigh-ins, I don't think I'll be changing my pick from Khabib to Tony.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Anthony Joshua wins, I think, whoever he wants.
Yeah, against Parker. Yeah, I think so.
There's Darren Russell. Look at Darren Russell. Hey, Darren Russell, Mr. ACB.
Hello, Darren. I'm better. I was the one that was sick.
Yeah.
Do you know, funny enough, well, not funny, you know, she wouldn't say it's funny, but now the missus is in there with a bug. Yeah.
Yeah,
Whoops.
That's it, you see. Yeah, that was the way.
Yeah.
Wait, you have children, you catch all their afflictions.
Yeah.
Well, look, this is tapered as it normally does on these live chats. We tend to finish the last 10, 15, 20 minutes talking. Darren, you just joined us. I was giving out about Man United. Darren's a big red as well. But we tend to go off and just sort of talk show you at the end. Obviously, show you talk it is. But yeah, check out the podcast. Normally out on a Tuesday. It's a lot more professional looking, as I said at the start. And we do things right. We will have some good stuff coming out next week as well. We'll be back in studio on Tuesday, so I'll be out on Wednesday as it's a bank holiday over here. But yeah, this has been a unscheduled sort of live chat. But thanks for joining us. Thanks for joining in. And yeah, peace. Enjoy the rest of your week. Enjoy your Good Friday pints. If you're going to the pub for the first time as an Irishman on a legally in a pub on a Friday, let's put it that way. Is Floyd Mayweather fight going to happen? I don't give a fuck at this stage.
I can't see it happen, and yeah, I couldn't give a fuck. Although I did say to Noel on the way home today, I was like, imagine if Conor come back soon and fought, say, Nate or anybody, and Floyd Mayweather made his debut in MMA in 2018. That'd be like a crazy weird year.
What weird year? Yeah, I don't care. Let him fight anyone and get beaten up.
And thanks, Theo, for those nice words.
Yeah, thanks, Theo. Fair play to you. Especially the show. He probably means because this fucking live chat shit is fucking over.
What is this shit?
Yeah. Go, stay. If you joined it late, go back and watch from the start. We actually do talk about it. Not just talking about video games. But yeah, thanks for tuning in and have a good one and enjoy your weekend. Be safe and don't get crucified this weekend.